Hi, flutes. Hopefully you were able to get that D to come out. D is kind of a favorite note for a lot of people because you can hold on to the instrument pretty tightly. You have your thumbs down, and you have your fingers going, most of them touching your keys. This pointer finger's up and that one's up. No pinky there, right? But you can hold your flute pretty easily that way. Now, before we go on to learn the next note, which is a C, I have a little bit of a test to help make sure that you're doing this thing correctly. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to put your 3 fingers down on the bottom and your pinky there. Okay, and what I want to do is I don't want to have any fingers holding any keys on the upper part. And you put it up here against your mouth and you let go. All right, and notice that if you walk by me, you're not going to be able to move this much because I'm using this hand, or this finger right here, the base of that finger, to push it into my face. Okay, so I'm pushing it up there and that's holding it there. Now if you weren't doing that, then your flute's going to probably fall all over the place. Okay, so that is why this is so important when you play the flute, that on your pointer finger, you're going to kind of see a little red mark because you're pushing against it. Got to be like that. Okay, and then here is another exercise to do. Remember, I'm putting it right by that first key underneath there. And then I am curling it over. Here's a test. Can you do this? Okay, I'm going to give you the... Can you do that? I'm holding the bottom hand like this. And I'm just kind of pushing that key up and down. Well, the key's not going to go up and down, but actually it will. All right, but can you keep your finger on the bottom of your flute and do that at the same time? All right. Okay, so you want to keep your fingers kind of close to the flute, but you don't want to be doing this. Okay, and you don't touch anything. See that? Except for the bottom. And again, that makes it so it doesn't wiggle. All right, so that is one kind of a test to do. Now I wouldn't try to blow on it. It's kind of hard to get a sound, but it's just kind of a hand check. Okay, now here's your D again. The pinky is up here, pointer finger's up. Now we're going to go opposite. We're going to take the pinky and this finger and we're going to put them down. And we're going to lift everything else up. I guess the only thing that's not opposite is this. You're still not going to use that pinky, but you're going to go from there. Notice these 2 fingers to there. That is tricky. Okay. That's going to take you some time to practice. So you want to stop the video right now, do that, and kind of work on that. But let's just, without going back and forth, let's just make sure we get the fingering right. So you got the pinky down here on the bottom, and your thumb is holding the flute up. And you got the side of your hand curled around and holding that first finger. The rest of your fingers are not touching anything. And you're pushing it up against your face there so it's nice and firm. And your seal sound. Okay, so that is how the C is played. Okay, remember again to keep your shoulders down here and don't bunch up here like this, right? Keep your elbows out. The other thing to make sure that you're not doing is you're not leaning your elbow on a chair like this to hold up your instrument. Okay, you need to be out here like that so your elbows are free. One thing you want to make sure when you're playing the flute too is that you are not kind of going down to play the flute. Like your bent sprouts are bending over to try to get it. Okay, what you want to do is you want to sit up nice and tall, your shoulders are down, and you want to bring the flute up to you. So your head shouldn't move. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to issue a challenge. This is going to be an extremely difficult challenge, so if you can't get this today, no big deal. It's called the CD challenge, and that is where you go from your D that we just learned to your C. And first of all, without making a sound, you should practice just kind of doing that, right? There's your D, there's your C. You practice going back and forth like that. Then, if you really want a challenge, which is going to be extremely difficult, is to go to play your D. Okay, so most of you are going to really have a struggle with that. And again, if you have a struggle with that, you are completely normal. If we had a class of students here and I said, raise your hand if that's tricky, I bet you every single person would have their hand up. So please know, if you're sitting at home trying to do this, guess what? That switch back and forth is very tricky. And in fact, I'm going to tell you right now, that is the hardest thing that you are going to have to do on the flute for months and months and months. The CD challenge is the hardest thing, okay? The notes that we're going to learn tomorrow are going to be a lot easier because you're just going to push down or pick up one finger at a time. So that's going to help, make things a lot easier for you. Don't panic about going from C to D. All right, it's a little confusing, but just kind of practicing. You might want to have your D like this, then put your pinky down and your finger down and think about keeping them down while you bring everything else up. Okay, so there are other videos here that I'm going to include with other teachers that are going to kind of show you and talk to you about like CD challenge and that kind of stuff. So make sure that you check those out too. They can be really helpful. All right, good luck.